Okay. Good. So welcome everyone that is now attending this session, a very important session for a very important topic on mental health, a matter that concerns us all, both personally but also professionally. I am a psychologist in the counseling page Nukevetam, which is providing services for children, for young people especially, that seek advices on mental health, but also support and access to psychologists. And I'm very happy to be here today with a very important guest, Edina Kozma, which is Deputy Head of UNICEF. But it is a human rights lawyer and also professional with 17 years of experience in the human rights, as well on capacity development, on institutional strengthening, and as well advocacy on behalf of the UN agencies and partners on rights and also protection. So welcome, Edina, and thanks a lot for making your time available and to have this important conversation on the European Mental Health Week.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Alma, for the invitation.
Good. I wanted to start the conversation today by sharing some of the input that we collected through some young people and adults, I suppose, on what were their keywords to mental health. How would they describe mental health? And there were two sides of input. One was about mental health is about support, is not just about addressing a concern, but it is about caring about health in general. But there were others that were as well describing it like it is related to anxiety, it is related to services, it is related to difficult situation, it is related to prejudice and stigma. And I wanted to start from here with you. How about, Edina? What are your keywords when it comes to mental health?
Thanks very much, Alma. And if I may circle back a little bit to the introduction that you very well made about mental health, but also about me, the only aspect that was missing is that I am a mother of 3 children. All of them are adolescents. So mental health indeed is not only my obligation as a professional, but also as a passion and also as a concern for me as a mother. And I think this is extremely important, that mental health is a concern to all of us, be it children, be it adolescents, be it parents, caregivers, or professionals. But I personally feel the importance of making sure that mental health is being taken care of, that I am talking and chatting every day with my 3 children. So when it comes to the keywords, certainly stigma is one of the keywords that comes into my mind. The importance of addressing stigma, the importance of encouraging our children, our peers, our colleagues to have the courage to talk about any concern that they are facing, be it depression, be it difficulties in sleeping, be it anxiety. So addressing stigma, break the stigma, and have the courage to speak up. These are the keywords that I consider very important to start our discussion with.
Thanks a lot, Edina. Thanks a lot for completing your introduction. I think it tells a lot about being sensitive on mental health, also for the best of children, also young people. Yes, and in the frame of all this stigma in general, although we were having as well this input from young people that we're trying to talk, but sometimes we find not full understanding. We find closed doors, or when we talk about these matters, it is about feeling very weak or being targeted as very weak. So what is done or what should be done in your opinion when it comes to addressing stigma? And maybe if you can say also what are your priorities in UNICEF when it comes to addressing this part and linking this input coming from young people and how to take it through that this takes the right approach and right communication.
Yes. Thanks, Alma. I think it is very important to talk about mental health
Mhm.
and use each and every opportunity to talk about mental health, building on the existing platforms that young people are using to communicate in between each other, be it offline platforms in the school, in their informal gathering at school level, for example, and also using the online platforms for discussion. So my take is to build on the existing platforms, the existing networks, the existing opportunities whenever they interact, and gradually inserting discussions about mental health. This discussion, on my opinion, will have to have at least two elements. One is to talk about mental health and say it is okay not to be okay. So accept that you might face challenges, talk about it, but also on the other hand, these platforms and opportunities to discussion must also empower us about what to do if we have a friend, if we have a colleague, if we have a child that is facing certain issues. So we acquire skills and some capacities to address these concerns at the first level.
Mhm. Thanks a lot for emphasizing this message, which is very important to us, that it is okay not to be okay and to know how to navigate with it. And thanks as well for bringing this message that there is a need that we broadly share and communicate through the platforms. Do you see that this needs to be like these platforms, should they be targeted to young people, or should that be a more, let's say, ensuring a more lively discussion on the matter and bridging young people as well with professionals, with adults, with parents, with how do you view it, and
Mm-hmm.
would say what would be important to be addressed in this regard?
Absolutely, absolutely, Alma. I think the mental health discussion must happen in all possible forums, in between generations, but also specific discussion in between the same generation. So youth must and young people, they might need a specific way of talking about their issues. They might have some confidentiality issues. So while I believe that there is a need to strengthen dialogue in between children and adolescents themselves, there is also a need to make sure that they will have access to specialized services and they will have specific channels that respect confidentiality, that is accessible to them, and that is quite specialized when it comes to the specific needs of adolescents and their well-being and mental health. So I think it's a dialogue that must exist at all level. And this is where us, we come in and we try to build on existing mechanisms, but provide more targeted support for adolescents.
Mm-hmm. Thanks a lot. We covered mainly at this point the issue of stigma, but also as related to which are some ways to initiate dialogue and also more information sharing, awareness raising, and discussion around the topic. Which are other issues related to mental health that you see in Albania based on your, I would say, personal and also professional experience, because you also introduce yourself with your personal background, which I appreciated.
Yeah, thanks, Alma. I think services. I mean, of course, it is important to talk about mental health. It is important to encourage each and every one of us to open up, to speak up if we have any concerns. But it's also important to have services in place. These services must exist at the school level. These services must exist at the health center level. And these other specialized services must be available for everyone who wants to, who opens up and who would like to talk about and would like to seek support. So my point is about services. These services must be accessible to all, of course, some specialized services for adolescents. And these services, of course, they need human resources, they need financial resources, and they need to exist at different levels. For example, at school level, this is something that is ongoing. It's a very positive development that some of the schools are having psychosocial services, but at the same time also these schools must have the opportunity to refer cases to more specialized services. So the existence of services, once again, it's very, very important, and they should be accessible to all. They should respect confidentiality, and this should be a priority for all of us here in Albania as well.
Thank you. And based on your experience and as well UNICEF experience, because I'm sure that whatever we are now suggesting, there are as well issues behind. And based on these issues as well, what are programs or intervention that you are focusing on UNICEF to address all potential gaps or maybe issues that are behind that? Now talking about mental health, it's very important to be open as well when it comes to what we need to improve and also address. And I would like to know what UNICEF is mainly targeting based on your experience and evidence.
Yes, mental health is one of our priorities, and indeed the support that we are providing to Albania is multifolded. I talked at the beginning about the opportunity to talk about mental health, but also to provide mental health support through online platforms. So one of the support that UNICEF is providing in Albania is to support the existence of online platforms for counseling. Nukje Vetem is one of these platforms that we are supporting. It helps young people to talk about their concerns, and also it helps them to seek support if they are in need. On the other side, of course, there are also offline platforms, offline mechanisms that are being used in order to provide information about mental health and offer support. One of the interventions that we are supporting is the creation, the setting up and the strengthening of the school system when it comes to creation of psychosocial services at school level. These psychosocial services are composed of a psychologist and social worker. Not yet in each and every school, but in many schools, we already have a psychologist and a social worker that receives specific training also to recognize signs of mental health issues, of problems that children are facing, and then they can refer it to specialized services. Of course, we are also working with the health system and training health professionals in terms of mental health provision, mental health support. We started our conversation about the importance of engaging young people, creating groups of young people who could serve as peer support to other adolescents and young people who are coming forward with mental health issues. This is very, very important. I know from my own experience that sometimes my children are rather turning to a peer than to a teacher or to a professional, or even sometimes instead of coming to me, they rather talk about their issues with their peers. So it is very important to build on the opportunities that young people can offer to each other. These are some of the aspects that UNICEF is looking at. But of course, we are not alone. There are many other actors that are also programming in this area.
Thanks a lot, Edina, for emphasizing that all the systems should be captured in a complementary way and in different areas in order to complete and provide the support. Yes, I would start a bit with what you said at the beginning about the online platform, and thanks as well for the support and cooperation on this. And we could also tell by our experience that it is very important as the online platform ensure as well confidentiality to some case. They can also enter anonymously. They can take a quick advice when it comes to this. So, and you know that young people, they are all in digital world in general and have really good access to it, and they really like it. It's part of their life. But when it comes to these online platforms, do you think there is something needed to be provided more or ensured differently? Do you have some key messages when it comes to recommendation on what should be improved, how to best improve our services or cooperation in general, or how to organize? I would like to hear that.
Yeah. Absolutely. I think online platforms should continue, need to be strengthened, and need to be functioning in coordination with the other platforms, the other opportunities that exist for young people and for everyone who would like to seek support. I believe that nowadays, many adolescents see the digital space as the comfort zone for them. They feel more comfortable of exposing and talking about their issues using their digital devices. This is where they feel comfortable. This is where confidentiality can be secured. So I think this is a very important tool. But it is also a lot of responsibility. Because in some cases, those professionals like you, Alma, who are receiving the concern, the worry from an adolescent through the online platform, and you recognize that there is a need for a personal counseling, for a face-to-face contact, then I think it is very important to make sure that there will be follow-up and there will be opportunity to potentially refer that adolescent to a face-to-face consultation or to another professional. So my take on online platform or any platform that exists to address well-being and mental health of adolescent and young people, that it needs to be part of a broader, an integrated system. People must be aware what is it that an online platform can offer and what is it that an online platform will not offer. And there will be an opportunity to reference cases and link with other actors of the system. But absolutely, it is necessary, and I think it is very beneficial. I remember that last year, when we were closing the year of 2022, we were almost, if I remember well, almost around 1,000 children and young people who actually turned to Nokia Vetem. So it's a big sign of the need, the importance, and of course the relevance and the usefulness of this service.
Thanks a lot for this message, and I will conversate a bit on this, as you said, because I also work with in the chat services of Nokia Vetem, but also responding to different letters. And as you rightly say, I mean, I think young people especially consider this as a safe space to come, talk, an entry point in case they found blockers outside or they are still not comfortable to go to their parent, to a professional. And they find that they can find information or some advice to orient themselves. But I also agree with you that the next step in the system is the referral, them getting the services, because sometimes they really get into critical situations. So I agree with the fact that there is a need to be complementary, but also creating this safe space in the best way for them.
Absolutely.
Are there other, if we would make it a bit more like cascaded to a more practical level, let's say, are there practices, concrete practices, testimonials, or maybe a success story that you can say by your experience of work or also intervention of UNICEF that could be provided in this session as well as a message or as a learning or as something where people could connect, I think?
Well, Nokia Vetem is a success story. So I could easily circle back the question to you, because we do consider Nokia Vetem as one of the best practices here in Albania. It's really a success story. It is engaging. It is linking children with professionals through an online platform. So that itself, it's already a success. And as I said, there is also data available of the use of the platform. Another success story that I see and that I felt is at the school level. I must say that the school nowadays is much more than only about learning. It is, in often cases, it is the safe space where children feel comfortable and where children can discuss different issues with their peers. So building on this opportunity that the school creates for children, learning how to use the peer counseling and how to bring in then professionals, it is a success story if the school is creating indeed these spaces for the children. We also quite recently, actually end of last year, we worked with one of the local organizations and reached out to more than 1,000 young people and asked them about mental health. What do they think? What are their critical concerns? What is the solution that they would like to provide? And as a result of that survey, we also felt that actually many young people still already see the need that they would like to be actors. They would like to be actively participating to counsel and to serve as a peer group for their colleagues and friends. So I think there is a lot of opportunity to build on the commitment and the willingness of young people to serve as peer facilitators, as counselors themselves. So these are some of the success stories and some of the opportunities that I see that we can build on.
Thanks a lot as well for this message. I also believe that what you're mentioning, that young people could be empowered through peer counseling, becoming more engaged in general in these matters, it is actually an indication of strengthening, I would say, mental health and also sharing it collectively. And it also emphasizes the fact that whenever we talk about mental health, it's like we feel vulnerable itself, but actually it's a place of strength when you get active and engaged, and when you generate support not only for yourself but also try to help others, so you integrate it also in others. So it is very important intervention, and I'm happy that there is focus on this. Are there other ideas or innovative approaches or programs you were thinking? Although I would say these are very important part of this online platform services, health system, schools, as you mentioned, because it is the place where children are, the second place where children, young people are after the family, basically. But are there other things you're thinking to have or integrate in your work? Different or diverse or innovative?
Yeah, well, diverse, yes. I think, of course, as everything in a society, there must be also dedicated policies, dedicated resources, dedicated programs set by the government. And I think one of the biggest lessons learned from the COVID crisis was that we really, at the government level, need to put mental health as one of the priorities. We have to have dedicated plans, dedicated programs, dedicated resources, be it financial and human resources, dedicated to mental health issues. And this is also one of the areas of intervention that UNICEF, in coordination and in cooperation with WHO, is focusing on. So setting up normative framework, setting up regulatory framework, setting up structures and programs that are addressing at the national level, at the central level, mental health, and elevating it to the priority attention of the government. I think it's very important. There are many lessons learned that the COVID crisis brought to all of us. And this is an opportunity to build on these lessons learned and take this system to a much more structured and robust way.
Thanks a lot for emphasizing the fact as well that the whole policy framework should be well considered. But if we will have these policies developed, hopefully soon, and also with the support that you're mentioning, also the attention you're giving to this, what it will ensure in practice, like what is aimed with the improvement of the policies? Are there going to be more available services on local level? Are there going to be more specialized services, like with improvement of the policies? I know it's a big topic, but what is aimed in practice? What we can say to the audience that this is finally reaching you in this practical form or way based on the needs?
Yeah.
If there is an idea. Okay.
Yes, I mean, of course, if a policy is well designed, is based on evidence, is based on the need for certain typology of services. So I would say that the immediate next step after the policy design, and as the essence of the policy, is the availability of services, both at community level, both at, for example, school levels, the availability of human resources at these services, the availability of financial resources at the level of these services, and also making sure that there are some specialized services as well. So it's not sufficient to have just a blanket similar kind of service available everywhere in the country, but we also must sure that there are specialized services also available, both when it comes to adolescents, or, for example, specialized services for postpartum mothers, because we have to remember that adolescents and children are not the only one that are facing mental health problems and struggling with well-being. So again, the policy serves for the purpose of the people. Everyone needs to have access to services. These services must fit to their needs. These services must secure confidentiality. We would like to see services at the community level. We would like to see services at the school levels. And we also like to see some specialized services targeting different population. I haven't yet mentioned, and I don't want to forget mentioning the importance of taking care of the mental health of the parents and the caregivers in order to make sure that we will be able to provide all necessary support to our children. Sometimes this is forgotten, and I think this is at least as important to talk about the needs to care for the parents, the need to care for the caregivers, and also the professionals, the psychologists, the nurses, the doctors. They also need professional assistance when it comes to their well-being and their mental health issues. So this is another angle which is at least as important as the one that we have just talked about.
Thanks a lot for emphasizing this. I can also say a bit from experience of Nukiavetum that when people come, we have mainly young people, but there are also other
other young
to say this, which come and they find themselves in difficult situation, and they always wonder how come that I am in this. Why anxiety to me, and all this, which shows the need that we need to be educated, no matter at which stage of life we are, at which young age we are in, about mental health, and about that we can be predisposed to be vulnerable at a certain moment in our life. And I would also like to strengthen what you mentioned about support to parents and also caregivers. Thank you for bringing it and not forgetting it in this discussion, because this is also what we see whenever we have young people, especially coming in the page. We see behind parents that needs to be supported. We see professional that needs to be supported and cared. So we see the chain, because this is why young people come there, because they want to see actually this linked in their life better. So thanks a lot for bringing this into attention. Okay, we talked on different topics. But are there some important messages that you would like to emphasize besides what we talked so far, and that are important for your work, or also for you personally, as also a mom of adolescents, which I
I believe that change starts with us. And I think each one of us has the responsibility and the commitment to make sure that we pass a very straightforward message to everyone with whom we live, we work, we meet in meetings or in other occasions. And the message is that I do care what is happening with you. I am here to listen. I might not be a professional, but I am here to listen and I do care. And please come forward. I can certainly help you in opening up. So I think it is very important that when we spoke about mental health, we reflect also how can we adjust our own attitude, because from some people this might mean the whole world. So let's start with ourselves and let's project this message to everyone around us, that we are here to care, we are here to listen, and we are going to be able to make this first step in a long journey that people with mental health are facing.
Thanks a lot for this message. I think I want to listen, I care, I do want to listen. I think this is human connection. And I think mental health is, as you were saying, about human connection. But it is what humanity has been doing or has been linked with. So thanks a lot. So this is something that belongs to us all, no matter if we are parent, young person, if we are a professional, and we know then how to address it. And also, if I would link it to Nukiavetam, this has been our, how do we capture this in our services and when we don't see people, because it's different when you say I care to a person when you see, just as we're doing, and we care in different ways about each other, and how it is when you don't see the person and all this, but it is felt when you are there, when you mean it, when you engage, the human connection and the energy gets transmitted and it heals a lot. So thanks a lot for bringing it to this message. That is a message that is very important, that whenever we ask people, we need to have this in mind, that I will care about what you will say, and not just ask and this is it. So and hear with all my being and with all my ears about that. Yeah. Thanks a lot. I think we talked on different things, but are there will be people that will listen to and then that will watch this stream. Are there specific recommendations you would like to address to young people, to parents, to professionals that might watch it, but I think are also concerned with the topic, and that we talked about them here as well? What would be some recommendation you would like to address to them separately, although they are all linked, I think, to the matter?
Yeah. I think the first message is speak up. The first message is open up. If you have a concern, if you are facing depression, challenge, problems with sleeping, please do speak up. Please search for help. Turn to that person who is closer to you. The second message is we collectively and individually, we have to combat stigma. We have to talk about mental health, because this is impacting on our daily life. So it is very important to bring mental health into the discussions. My third message, if for parents, is invest time in talking to your child. Bring in topics, create opportunities when they can open up and talk about how they have spent their days and what is it that concerns them. And the last message is for those that are the decision makers. Please put mental health as one of your priorities. We need services, we need resources, financial and human resources, and this must be a priority for this country as well.
Thanks a lot for these messages. And I hope we can all hear it with our hearts open and with our ears open. These are very good messages, actually. And I don't want to go in another question that shifts from the attention of all these messages and things we need to reflect on. But before we end this conversation together, is there something important on your side that you would like to emphasize for the work you're doing, for any other message that would be more than welcomed, anything that was not said or captured in our discussion?
Maybe the last message is the usual message from me. It's around coordination and cooperation. As I said, mental health must be a priority. It's a very complex, very sensitive, and very important topic. There are many stakeholders and many partners that are working and supporting mental health issues. And we have to talk to each other. We have to coordinate, so we will have a greater impact collectively than each one of us alone.
So we also have some way to go when it comes to cooperation and linking everything, so that we are
absolutely
aligned. Yes, which goes in line with what you provided as message before, that I do care, I have to listen. So we also have to listen at different levels as stakeholders in the field. Thanks a lot, Edina, for today's conversation, for emphasizing aspects of mental health, and also what is available in the system, what needs to be improved in the system, what is the role of the young people as well in the system, and how they can help and support, and how important it is to speak up and to be there with our full presence as parent, as young person, as professional, as a stakeholder that I need to link with others to make these things happen. So it was a short and concise discussion, I would say, but I think we conveyed what was most important when it comes to some aspects of mental health and some messages.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Alma, for the opportunity.
Thanks as well, and wishing you all the best with your work as UNICEF, and also with the support and also coordination that you provide. So as an actor in the mental health area, and not only, of course, it's protection in general. And we hope that this will take us all through the challenges and also make things better, and hopefully when we link again next year or sometime soon, we could also tell on improvements or things that have changed, or that we did better as professional, or maybe also at personal level, or our organizational level, of course.
Thank you. Thank you also for all the work that is being done through the Nukia VETEM platform. I think it is, as I said at the beginning, it's very important and an excellent example of we can help young people and adolescents that are struggling with mental health issues. So congratulations, and thank you so much also for the work.
Thanks a lot. So we're not alone. Nukia VETEM is you're not alone. So let's close with this, and all the best to everyone. Thank you. Thanks, Edina.
Thank you. All the best.
Bye.
Bye-bye.